Welcome back to Warframe. As you can tell, my voice is a little crisper. I apologize for the last few videos. It's just how it is. Welcome to the Veterans Guide. We are going to be going over essentially Steel Path and up. There is going to be a lot of information. I'm going to help you build weapons for Steel Path, because now that you are a veteran, you should now know at least the basics of modding your weapons in your Warframes. So I'm here to help you further that modding adventure. I'm going to be explaining Steel Path, I am going to be explaining Steel Essence, I am going to be explaining Incarnates, I am going to be explaining all of that fun jazz, including Archon Shards, Elite Archimedias, and all of that jazz. So let's start with the big one, and that's going to be, you're in Steel Path, I can't kill anything, what now? So when you get to Steel Path, as most of you know, there is a very, very, very high difficulty spike. So what do you do about it? That is a fantastic question. Have to now alter your mods. You can get away with some mods, yes, in prior modes. However, in this game mode, you will need to know how to mod your stuff properly and make the most out of what you have. So I'm going to be using my two best items that are built, and that is my Frost, and that is my Boltor, and our Boltor is going to lead us into the Incarnates, so it kind of just works out pretty well like that. So let's start with my Frost build to explain why I have him built the way that I have him built. So as you can see, I have Rush. This is not going to be replaced on him, but other Warframes that most likely would be something like Primed Sure-Footed, which makes you resist knockdowns in case you're annoyed by knockdowns. Dreamer's Bond essentially could be any aura. It's really up to you. If you have Arcane Avenger, Combat Discipline can help with that. I should probably be using Combat Discipline on my Frost. I'm going to end up using Combat Discipline on my Frost now. This is actually something that I got from a viewer who I ended up playing with, who uses it on Iorelli with Arcane Avenger. It's actually really clever. I really like it. I'm stealing it. Thanks, Furby. Yeah, great. Anyways, with that being said, I have Prime Flow, Streamline, Stretch, Precision Intensify, Icy Avalanche, Freeze Force, Biting Frost, Augur Reach. If you need to reread any of those, just skip back a little bit, pause it, see what they do, because now we're going to explain why I have it, where I have 175% range, 130 efficiency, and all that jazz. Frost is one of the few Warframes in the game who has the capability of Overguard. What's Overguard? Fantastic question. Overguard is a mechanic in Warframe where you essentially get a third health bar. You have health, you have shield, you have Overshield, which is that little purple health bar where something causes you to gain more shield, and then you have Overguard. Overguard is its own entity with its own iframes after it gets destroyed. As you can tell, I have 28,000 Overguard cap, and that lets me to have the survivability that I need in higher level missions. Makes it 9 killable, and it makes it to where my Frost doesn't know for about anything, and so we use him at. Unfortunately, I don't frequently use his Snow Globe because it's not something I have to use very often. I know Frost is your defender Warframe. Why don't you use him to defend? Because his 4 has immense crowd control, his 2 is replaced with Nourish, that gives me viral, his 1 gives me 140% damage bonus with Cold. So, Snow Globe is needed whenever I'm doing a defense mission. I'll always pop down a Snow Globe just simply because, hey, it's Frost's sole thing. As the ability, I'm going to use it. I have it to where it has some health. It's not a lot, unfortunately. With Nourish, it gives me energy. My Frost is a very energy-extensive Warframe. Yep, choose that up like it's a really good piece of pie. Alright. I can have, my, 427 energy, and it will disappear within, 20 seconds with how I play my Frost. So Nourish helps me just keep that up and not have to run energy on my Frost. My Freeze, I have Freeze Force. Realistically, this is the only optional mod there is. I use it just because I like it. I could straight up replace it with Umbral Fiber. I could just boop. Look, more HP.
The system continues
Umbral Umbral Vitality. I could replace it with a lot of things. And his passive is cold status effects from Frost abilities have the duration increased by 100%. Frost gains 50 armor per enemy afflicted with a cold status effect within 15 meters. I use a lot of cold on this character. All of my weapons use cold. So I have that armor bonus at all times. And then the only mods that I will go over is Icy Avalanche, Freeze Force, and Fighting Frost because of Frost. Icy Avalanche is what gives you the Overguard that we talked about earlier. Freeze Force is 100% cold damage to their attacks. I get 100% cold damage, and it goes up to 65 because of my Molt Augmented. 65% ability strength, and then Arcane Event crit chance. I really... and then Biting Frost is I gain 200% crit chance and crit damage against frozen enemies. So I have an immense amount of crit. Everything crits. Except for maybe, like, the Stug and the Pox. Because they have such low crit chance. But other than those two weapons, everything for my Frost crits, and it just doesn't care that much. It's a wonderful build, and it's gotten me through most of Steel Path, and makes it to where I don't care. That's how you have to have your characters build. There are 3 schools of building, right? 3 main ones. Let me go over the 3 main ones. You have the Invisibility build, Octavia, Loki, Ash. You have the Overguard build, Frost, Styanax, Dante, Colero, not Corvex. And then you have, 4 main schools. Then you have Shield Gating, which you can activate with mods and whatnot. And then you have just pure raw tanks. Valkyr, super high armor characters. Valkyr, I'll put down Neza, Rhino, Urelli. Those are characters that just have super high damage resistance because of one of their abilities or multiple abilities. Those are going to be your main Warframes for Steel Path when you start out. Because let me tell you what, when you first start out and you don't have any crowd control and you're not killing quickly, you don't have the luxury of having a squishy war. I can get away with an Octavia that doesn't go invisible because I kill everything nearly instantly. But that's kind of the issue, is when you first start off in Steel Path, you don't have that luxury. You don't have Prime mods, get Archon versions. They're just as good, they just cost more. And they have a little more of a bonus. I don't care for Archon mods, I just run Prime mods because I'm weird. Granted, I could probably go and get Archon Flow and then sell my Prime Flow. Absorb an amount of flat, which I may do eventually, but not right now. That being said, let us head over to my Voltor and why it's built with Corrosive and Cold. Oh! And, I have a Riven that lets me pull this off, of course, but hey, when you get late game, you get Rivens for your favorite weapons. Galvanized Aptitude, Galvanized Scope, my Riven, Stormbringer, Galvanized Chamber, Rhyme Rounds, Prime Shred, Serration, Vigilante Supplies, and Primary Frostbite. Now, when you're thinking of your professional, big-time YouTubers, you're thinking, why do you have Serration? Isn't it supposed to be bad? Don't you just throw on Primary Merciless Deadhead? That's a fantastic point. Fuck that build. I use Serration because I use Primary Frostbite to get a stupid amount of crit damage. That is 120% crit damage and about, 90? 100? I'm gonna go with 100% multi-shot. That is a whole nother bullet coming out of my gun. And in some cases, it's a whole nother, 3 bullets coming out of my gun. With a bunch more crit multiplier. That's why I have Primary Frostbite. Because without Serration, it's not going to be able to hold up. Because without Serration, 293. That's absolutely screwing my build over, so we use Serration to make up for it. Prime Shred is Fire Rate and Punch Through. Punch Through is immediately needed on anything that shoots a normal bullet, or normal bullet, quote-unquote. Your Boltor, your Bratton, your Burst, and all that jazz. Anything that doesn't have a beam or an AoE, I highly recommend Shred or Prime Shred, because Fire Rate's wonderful, Punch Through is wonderful. Galvanized Aptitude, because it's like Condition Overload. Galvanized Scope, because it's, extra crit chance. I use it for my crit chance, and I get red crits with this thing. And then I like having Corrosive and Cold. It's just how I am. I don't know what to tell you. If I end up having to change the build a little bit because I rerolled my Riven, which I probably won't, because I like my ribbon build, I will. But for now, I don't need to. And that leads us to pistols. So let's pull out... Oh my days, what pistol should we pull out? You know what, let's just go for age-old classic Lex Prime. Pistols, here's my Lex Prime build. Again, we hit Corrosive, because Corrosive was just really good. Primary Deadhead, because this is more of a damage-based weapon than a status weapon. So I have 126% crit, and yes, I have a Riven for it as well. Thank you, Furby, I love you. And I don't have it on because I have to, you know, make room for it and level it up, and as you can tell, I'm kind of poor. But, you know, 126% crit, 155, 6 times, 15,000 damage total. This thing absolutely slaps. The Lex Prime is very easy to build. It's another Incarnon weapon. And so pistols, it all kind of comes down to your arcanes. Especially in Steel Path. It comes down to your arcanes. I would highly recommend getting your arcanes maxed out and going into Steel Path. But Max, once you get your secondary and primary arcanes from Steel Path, that's a wonderful point. Not all of them are gotten just from Steel Path. Iona Pass, Circulus, the other mission that's on Lua before Circulus. Oh, there's one more. I know there's one more. Duviri. Duviri has arcanes. Deimos has arcanes. You can get arcanes before you go into Steel Path to give yourself a little bit of a power boost if you think you'll struggle. And that's okay. No one's going to judge you for it. It's not bad to do that. Do what you need to do. And when it comes to melees, I actually am kind of god-awful at building them. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. But this is my pennant build. Again, my favorite weapons. I just so happen to have a ribbon. Why don't I have a DPS one on there? I don't know. I'm a little stupid, I guess. Huh. Oh no, it's because I have condition overload. Never mind. That's why. Same thing as everything else. It's 80% melee damage for status effect, and you know, we have 4 status effects here. 80 times is 240, you know. And then you go here, and you look at prime pressure point, that's only on 35. It's better to do condition overload, especially if you have decent status, which I mean I have keeping wounds, which I can out with that and get myself even more speed, which I'm gonna do, because my pennant is slow and I want it to be faster. Or I could do something like Berserk Fury if I didn't have Primed Fury. Primed Fury. Oh no! Primed Fury on. I could do Drifting Contact if I wanted a little more combo duration. I could Healing Return for health per status effect. Leave a comment with your username and I'll give you this fucking pennant ribbon. Straight up. This isn't a joke. I'm not going to be flashy about this. If you make it to this point, leave a comment with the name of the pennant ribbon in the Discord. Message me a screenshot of that comment and I will give you this pennant ribbon. This is not a meme. But condition overload. You know, these mods are fantastic. I could do Killing Flow instead. If I had the slots, I probably would. But I've formed this already 5 times, and I think I'm a little done with formatting this thing. I'm not. I do. I could theoretically do that. I could get more damage. Like I said, I'm not the best, but I like my Blood Rush builds. I like my high crit Blood Rush builds for my Warframes. Realistically, what I should do is I should go here, and I should probably get Organ Shatter on as well. Give me even more crit multiplier. I can work with that, but I really don't want to, so I'm just going to my super fast speed, because I like fast melees. So that was 14 minutes of me just explaining mods for Steel Path, and we're not done, by the way, because now we're going to get on to farming resources. There are two good Sentinels for this. Specific resources. And then there's, of course, your that. But let's start with the Oxalis. The Oxalis has a mod called Botanist. Oxalis will scan plants with 50 meters, or within 50 meters over 2 seconds, consumes a Codex scanner charge. Fantastic ability, and he also reveals hotspots within 100 meters and applies luminous dye. You don't have to worry about that. fantastic ability. This is very much so your support dude who kind of just exists. The other one that's really good for, filling out your Codex is the Helios. He has Investigator. Helios will scan enemies within 50 to 2 seconds. Codex scan chart. It's your Librarian, call him. And then we have the niqnoqqy. The niqnoqqy has Charm. Has a 28% chance every 27 seconds to bestow its owner good fortune. What does that mean? Fantastic question, let's go. What this means is you can get double resources from your niqnoqqy. Double XP, resources, double everything. You can get red crits permanently. It's a fantastic ability if you're farming. I recommend having a niqnoqqy. I don't normally run a niqnoqqy. Hell, I don't normally run Oxus or Helios. I normally run Trigon, my Hound. Because my Hound is able to single-handedly whoop ass in Steel Path. He is ridiculous. I love him. His name is Trigon. But right now I'm using Oxus because I need to get plants. We have gears. We're not going to go over gears. You guys understand gears, but Spectres can help. Crewmen can help. You get the gist. And I'm sure you're going to be like, oh my god, Archwing Steel Path probably sucks. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. If you got the Steel Path, that means that you've done the New War, which means you have the Moslin, which means that you have one of the best arc guns in the game. Let me tell you what, dude. We'll be fine. Good. And with that being said, we're finally done with modding. It only took us that long. So what do we do next? Let's talk about that. The Codex. Some people get to Steel Path without completing all their quests. Hell, I still haven't done the Sands of Inaros because I really don't like that. I love the Kubro, everything else is done. This is another part of the Veterans Guide I'm going to go. Is filling out your Codex, which is why I brought up that other, Helios. Because the Helios will help you fill this out. As you can see, I have most entities at least scanned once. Okay, I lied. I have barely any entity scanned once. However, I have a bunch of entities scanned. I have more than I would if I did not, have Helios. That's one part of, if you're a veteran and you want to just farm everything, cool, do that. Get all your primes, get all that jazz. Get all the Warframes in the game. I'm only missing 2 now. Max out, and I gotta max out the Bone Widow. That's not fun. But I have Equinox and Gara that I need to max out, and then I'm done. I have to also get them, but we're going to ignore that part. And, you have your syndicates, right? Fill out your syndicates. Get 3 syndicates. The thing with Warframe as a veteran is it's very difficult to know what to do. Collect all the Lich weapons. This isn't as easy and straightforward as you could shut the fuck up, Lich. Jesus Christ. This isn't as simple as your noob's guide, where, okay, here's the basics of Warframe, do this stuff, ease your way in. Or the pros guide, where it's like, okay, we've gotten done with the second dream, what now? Now we're in Steel Path. Cool. Steel Path is when the game is fully open to you. You have Archon hunts, right? Get an Amber Shard, throw it on your Warframe. We have, sorties that you should probably be doing. We have the incursions that you should probably be doing, right? Oh, that would suck. A Fervo? God, I remember doing that. But Archon Shards, for those of you that don't know, and Helmith in general, because we didn't go over that, because I consider this higher tier stuff, because you have to farm the Warframes and consume them. We'll start with Archon Shards. Are little buffs that you can give your Warframe. Casting speed, parkour velocity, health regeneration, extra secondary crit chance by 1% every time you kill an enemy affected by a heat status effect. Yes, I want to get a bunch of Topaz Archon Shards and throw them on your Reli. Not a psychopath. Melee crit damage and all that jazz. To make your Warframe better. So when people tell me, oh, well, Frost casting speed is too slow, I look at them and I show them that I have, some faster castings. There. My last one's probably going to be another Amber Archon Shard, and I'm going to throw it in here and do parkour velocity just so I can have a little more speed on my Frost, because I think having a fast Frost. And I'll probably end up taking off Forged Crimson Archon Shard and doing something with it. And then you have Helmith. You know, you have 15 tiers of Helmith. First subsume plus 3 subsume slots. Cool. You know, rebuild shields. Sassity? I don't... This is hard. Then subsume slots, and you just unlock a few more abilities. And when you get to 15, Golden Instinct, and you get Unbound Subsume, which means it subsume every Warframe. I think I'm missing only a few. Yeah. You know, Zaku Prime comes out, I'll do it. I don't plan on getting Steinhexes. When Dagoth Prime comes out, I'll get hers. Rebuild Necros to do that. Ara I need to build again. Oberon I don't care for. Mesa I don't care. Caliban I don't care to subsume because he's reworked. I still need to build that. I don't care. Primed. Not refarming her. Not refarming him. Primed. I'll do it eventually. Alright, it's the only book I have left. But, with that being said, that's where you also get a lot of power from, right? I have 225 bonus armor, so I have 64% damage resistance. Realistically, do I need this? No, I really don't. So what I'm going to do until then is we are just going to go throw on these 2 parkour velocity ones for now. Just for funsies. Just so I can say I have a completely kitted out Frost of Archon. Granted, I need to get them Tau Forged. But now with that parkour velocity, now I have 30% more parkour velocity, I should be bouncing around like a jackrabbit on crack. A jackrabbit on crack! Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. But, with that being said, that's really it. Like, sure, I could go off of, like, if you don't feel fulfilled in Warframe, try Fashion Frame. There's a few schools of thought. You could go like this. You could just, you know, have a basic one. I have a basic looking Frost. You know, he's a little guy. You could have, you know, a themed Warframe. There's a fire-themed Frost Prime. And you know what? Because I did that, I made an ice-themed Ember. And they're probably my best frames, to be honest. Realistically, what I should do with the, you know, Frost-themed one is I should go to Attachments and the Vengeful Flame Ephemera, so he's literally burning 24/7. And now he's pure fire. But I also follow my fashion. I have a pink, blue, and black fashion. That's why my thumbnails are the way they are. It pops. It's recognizable. I like it. But, with that being said, when you're a veteran, man, once you get past Steel Path and you can consistently kill it, the entire game opens up. Archon hunts are difficult, but after a while they get easy. Eidolon hunts start off as a challenge, but once you rank up your 10-0, they're just another push-up. Thing with Prophet Taker. I just recently started doing Prophet Taker a lot. It's a joke. And with that being said, that's the end of the Veterans Guide and the end of this series. Monday, we will have a much cleaned up version, right? I'll be essentially re-recording all of these with a script and all of that jazz, because yes, this comes unscripted. Surprise, surprise. But in hell, I'll have, you know, a script, which is more of a list of bullet points, so organized, and then the complete Warframe player guide will be out Monday at 6 p.m. And don't forget, 3,000 subs, or when I get monetized, 24-hour survival, using essentially this build. Everything will be the same. Maybe some few little differences. I may have the Lado Vandal by then and be using that instead. I hope you guys enjoyed. Godspeed. Warframe may not be the easiest game. I'm here to make that journey just a little bit. Deuces, boys. I'll see you in the next one.